Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to the SFC interviews. This is Mike Heineman, of course, here with Darren Murphy today. So how are things on your end, Darren? Obviously, we've got the coronavirus to take into account of and all of that as well. How have things been with that over in Ireland where you are?
Yeah, strange times. I suppose we've been we were shut down around March, but it's kind of going back to normal a bit now. Well, it's not fully normal because all the pubs are closed in Ireland, so that's not a normal thing in Ireland anyway. But yeah, look, it's a strange time for everyone. But again, I suppose you got to adjust and adapt and kind of deal with it.
That's right. So we'll get into the first questions really in regards to your time at Stevenage. So what were your main reasons? Yeah, no, I was going to say, what were your main reasons in joining up with Stevenage in the first place? Obviously, Graham was manager at the point, and what was it like to join up with him, and what were your reasons behind choosing Stevenage to sign for at that point?
Yeah, well, I suppose when I was younger, I always wanted to go into the army, and then when I came over, it was no. So like I came over to England. I was over with a couple of clubs on trial at a younger age and stuff like that, and I had a few injuries and stuff, and went back to Ireland playing a bit, and I always wanted to go to England, and when I came over on trial, I was on trial with Stevenage, and I was supposed to go to Russian Diamonds as well.
Mm-hmm.
After coming down from Nottingham Forest, actually, I played a game in Nottingham Forest, and then came down the next day. So,
okay.
Yeah, I just really liked it there. I think it was the first time I experienced where the manager was actually kind of really involved in the training, heavily involved.
Yeah.
Graham seemed like a decent guy. The lad seemed decent, and I actually never ended up going to Russian Diamonds. That I stayed on because they had asked me to stay on for another week, and stayed on for the week.
Part of the trial. You just extended your trial and played in a few pre-season games, and then signed up permanently, didn't you?
Yeah, no, definitely, and yeah, no, I suppose when I came back to Ireland, I'd always wanted to play in the UK, so that was a decision for me to make.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I was 21 or something at the time. So I basically packed up all my life into my car and just drove over, which was a bit surreal, really. It was time to grow up from living at home and stuff like that. So it was a new experience, new adventure, and something that I'd never ever regretted doing anyway.
And what was that like? Obviously, moving away from home and kind of going, to a completely new country, and what was it like coming into that that squad? Really, who was the main kind of people that kind of made you feel welcome?
Yeah, well, Bezo definitely. Bezo definitely made me feel welcome by welcoming me every day, shouting Murph from County Cork.
Yeah.
At the top of his voice. Yeah, because he had spent a bit of time over at Bohemians actually, in Ireland, so he was quite welcoming. But everyone was, to be fair, everyone in around the club. I really like that about Stevenage as well. It's quite similar to Cork in the way the people treat you when you walk in the door, and a lot of people are volunteering and stuff like that as well at the club, and you just get that homely feeling, and they just want you to do well. Again, like I suppose it's difficult for players to come in to Stevenage, as you've probably seen over the last couple of years. But once you settle in, and you kind of you probably, same as any other football club, you have to earn your respect wherever you go.
Absolutely,
and then once you have it, sometimes you have friends and people for life, that kind of way. But no, you were just mentioning there, when I first came over, played a couple of trial games actually, and the one thing I'll never forget, I played against Luton in my first ever game for Stevenage, and it was the worst game I ever played in my life. And I think it was a big thing. John Dreyer was it was for the reserves, I'm sure, at the time.
Okay.
And he understood, put his arm around me, and just said, look, it happens, whatever. It was a totally different game, but. No, so it's good to get that, but I'd always say, give people a chance, and I was given a chance there, and eventually did well enough there, so.
Got a comment here from Dean as well, Benzie. So he's just kind of going over what your chant was there, the Stevenage chant. So how much did that kind of get you up and motivated for games when you were hearing that?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I remember hearing it the first time I came into the game, and you know, like the fans were great there at the time. Stevenage, they used to have a drum and stuff like that, and you know, there was always a good atmosphere there. I think I remember coming the first home game came on. I can't remember who it was actually, but like I just remember the feeling, you know, the atmosphere on the pitch. You can hear the fans screaming, you know, at the top of their voice, you know, singing and chanting. It was really kind of a ground where, you know, people, you know, felt like, you know, the home crowd are with this team here, and it was really that kind of attacking football, you know, like we were going to get a goal, even if it was 1-1, you know, we were going to go to 92 minutes or 90 minutes and we were going to get that 2-1, like we were just going to get it off you. But you know, it's hard to replicate that at grounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you know, you're just speaking about your debut as well, in the league debut. We'll touch on that one because you actually got an assist on your debut as well, didn't you? So what was it like to actually assist on your debut there and be involved in? I think it was a 3-0 win as well, quite a convincing win on your debut there.
Yeah, I suppose when I first kind of got in the team, I think we went like 24 games unbeaten or something like that.
Yeah,
it was like a conference record or something. So yeah, I kind of slotted in straight away. Did well. I suppose, you know, it's hard to come into a team as well and play with players you haven't played with before. But there was a couple of quality players there. I mean, Steve Morrison was there. You know, Ronnie Henry right back, who's always comfortable on the ball. I know Dukes was playing there a good bit and really comfortable. Lardy as well, and especially when you're central midfielder there, you've got those outlets in the wide areas. You know, it makes your job a lot easier. I suppose I would have come into the team really kind of changed from like an attacking midfielder. When I first came over from Ireland, Cork, I was you know, power midfielder into the box, getting assists and stuff like that. Whereas I suppose in Stevenage it was more, you know, I kind of started out that way, and then I ended up kind of sitting in front of the back four and kind of breaking up play. So yeah, I probably didn't get as many assists or goals as I probably would have liked to, but again, enjoyed it. You know, it was a new challenge, and again, you just like had to adapt and keep going and get on with it.
And what was it like, you know, being placed in front of the back 4 or 5 there? Obviously, that was a fantastic defence at that point. Went on to keep all sorts of records and things like that as well. So, you know, and you were kind of the linchpin of that as well in the midfield, trying to keep things ticking over and supporting the back line whilst also trying to move play to get it playing forward as well.
Yeah, well, I suppose I kind of looked at, as you said, like the quality that we had going forward. You know, my talent was taking the ball off people or breaking play, you know, and then giving it to these guys and letting them go at it, you know, whereas I would probably, when I was at Cork, I would have done a lot of that. I would have been one of the players going forward. But again, you know, I adjusted to it well. I thought, like, you know, that was a good game for me. Yeah, like I was a good tackler, I was a good header, you know, of the ball, you know, and I think Stevenage, like, and that conference football was quite physical, you know. It was
massively,
like,
massively.
So I kind of fit. I fit in there well. No, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and I know, like, we were set up well. Talk about Wesley, Dino, and John Dreher. Like they did. Like they set us up well. We were well organised. You know, it was good to see that side of the game, especially being the coach now as well. Just knowing what they went through and stuff that time, and we were well drilled. We didn't concede. I think we had a record defensive record in best in England and stuff like that. So no, we did well, to be fair. Yeah, there's a lot of good defenders.
Yeah, it was a really good squad there. Obviously, we spoke about your debut for the club in the 3-0 win. That was actually over Lewis as well. But then, you know, you made your name for us in the centre of the park there with some strong performances. And what the Stevenage fans always liked about you was that you know, weren't afraid to shy away from tackles. You were always getting a foot in, and yeah, like that's what we completely loved about you as a player. You were one of those kind of guys that gave 110%, and you know, literally, you wore your heart on your sleeve and fighting for the cause every single game.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of breed of Irish football I know, like you've got like, you know, Germany and Spain and stuff like that, and you know they have a certain way of playing. A lot of Irish lads come from GA clubs. You know, we have our own kind of game over here, where it is about that. It's playing with your heart and soul for your, you know, the pride of your parish, which is you know where you come from. So I was always brought up with that, you know. So no, like that's the way a lot. I suppose a lot of Irish players you see even going over to the UK and stuff like that, and the fact that as well that, like, you know, you need to impress over there, and you need to be playing well to stay over there, because obviously there's a lot of English guys over there. So why are they bringing a guy over from Ireland, you know? So you have to justify it as well. But no, that was me. I just wanted to go out and give 100% and do my best, and and probably you know, like I had to retire at 27. I probably, you know, maybe put my foot in a bit too much, but look, that's the way I played, and that's the best I got out of it. You know, I went to that level probably because of that.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, would you say who were your kind of role models that you kind of looked up to? Was there any sort of main Irish role models, the likes of maybe Roy Keane or something like that?
Oh yeah, well, Roy Keane would have had a huge influence on all Cork lads, like, you know. He's like exactly what we grew up with, you know, watching Manchester United. Hard tackler, you know, worked. I was going to say his bollocks off. I'm not going to say it, but anyway, worked his bollocks off in the middle of the park, you know, and just did simple stuff, you know. Like you look at, even though he was a talented player as well, but you know, he wasn't Zidane, or he wasn't Messi, or he wasn't Ronaldo. He didn't play like that, even though he was still talented. But you know, he just did what he did well. You know, won tackles, intelligent passes. You know, he scored a good few goals as well, and gave a good few assists. So
that's right, and it's quite a funny story actually. If you look at Roy Keane and stuff, my mum has actually danced with Roy Keane. That's one of her little claims to fame.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They were at some function.
Is dance a code word? No.
Who knows, mate?
Are you trying to say you're Roy Keane's son? There's a few fellas out there trying to say that.
No, far from that. But no, it was a little function they were at, and her and my dad. My dad's quite big into horse racing and all of that as well. It was a horse racing do, and my dad's had a few race horses and all of that. He's still got one actually at the moment, and it was a horse racing function, and Roy Keane was there, and they ended up having a dance together at the end. You know, they had a few drinks together, the three of them, and a few others, and the jockey, and you know, some of the horse racing trainers and that as well.
Yeah, no, Roy's a real nice guy. You know, I suppose he kind of gets, you know, a lot of bad press and stuff like that, and you know, even in Sky Sports, a lot of people kind of love him, but then, you know, a lot of people are kind of complaining about him as well. But he says it like it is, and that's it. Like, you know, he's just a winner at the end of the day, and that's all he wants to be, you know, and he wants everyone else to be a winner as well around him.
We've got a few questions come through on the chat here as well. Question from Roy there: who were the jokers in the dressing room, and who did you room with for your away days?
Yeah, so Ronnie Henry's a big joker anyway, definitely quite funny. Mark Albrighton, when he was there, he was quite funny, to be fair. Yeah, he was a good lad. Always had a good joke. Who did I room with away days? I think I roomed for Lardy for a bit, did I?
Was it with Scotty?
Probably quite a few different fellas at times and stuff like that. Yeah. But there was always quite a good buzz in the dressing room. Bezo, obviously, he was a great buzz, you know.
Bezo was fantastic, even with the fans and all of that. And like, you know, for Mitch's game, the memorial game for Mitch, he jumped in with the East Terrace and was banging the drum, playing the drum and all of that. So that's the character that he is. He's just you know, full, like, he loves life and he loves getting involved. Yeah.
Moose was quite a joker as well around the place. Probably went too far at times, but no, he was funny, to be fair. Stacey Long is another one. Sorry. Stacey there. Stacey used to entertain us actually with magic tricks as well. So I don't know. Looking back, maybe they weren't so good. Maybe we were just kind of, you know, bored and nothing to do.
We got a question here from Matt, and I was actually going to touch on this anyway. What did you make of the red card in the playoff semi-final against Cambridge, the one that was actually rescinded in the end, meaning that you could actually play at Wembley?
I'd love to see what went back in that. I don't know, did the UK refs maybe speak to like Irish refs or something, because like I would have had a bad disciplinary record in Ireland, but then when I came over to the UK, I tried to kind of keep it down, and it was going well. But look, I always kind of heavy in the tackle and stuff like that. But yeah, I just thank God that someone, like video, I don't know who it was it Setanta Sports at the time or something, because it was an absolute disgrace, and I'd say there was definitely some, like, he hit the deck. I came across him, won the header quite cleanly, didn't even have my arms in the air. But again, like, it just goes to show that, like, how good, like, video footage and stuff like that is in games, especially like that. My biggest disgust about the whole thing was that the referee didn't apologize for it. He just...
It's one of those ones that with VAR these days, they'll look at that and then they'll just straight away, overturn the decision.
I can't understand why they just can't put up their hands and say, like, sorry, got it wrong today. They're actually probably told not to, but everyone makes mistakes. Let's be honest. Like, you make mistakes all the time. And I know even coaching my lads in games and stuff like that and training, they're constantly moaning. They're constantly going to get on at you, and your decisions are going to be probably right and wrong. But sometimes you even think in your head, what, actually that was a blunder, and you admit it. Yeah, so look, but I don't know. Like, I never really.
I remember
like, for
that
me
game
as well.
Yeah, I remember that game really well. I was actually stood with Matt, and we were stood in the East Terrace, and we saw that, and we're like, how is the referee giving that as a red card? The guy, has clearly gone in. He's clearly gone for the ball. He's clearly won the ball as well for that matter. Like, how can the referee and his officials all seem to get that wrong?
Yeah, and then we went to Cambridge away and we lost. The second game, so you don't know how the red card might have affected the home match as well. Could we, and that's like, that was a bad way to end that as well. Like, and it could have cost. There you go. It could have cost the club promotion. So.
And then obviously in the away game as well, we were 3-1 up from the first leg there, and we lost that 3-0. And again, I was speaking to Danny Potter about this yesterday. He was actually in goal for Cambridge on that day. He come out and he said one of the main reasons why Cambridge were really up for that was Morrow's interview afterwards. He was speaking to, I think it was Rebecca Lowe, I think he said, from Setanta Sports, and it was in regards to Morrow coming out and saying, "Oh, it looks like we're going to Wembley twice then," and that kind of gave Cambridge and the Cambridge lads that bit of extra motivation to go on and to kind of get one over on us and to kind of come back and get into the final themselves.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? There's all sorts of arguments there. You turn around and say, right, does it really take the Cambridge team, to hear a bad interview to get them motivated to win a match, And then you'd be looking, saying, we could have won 3-0 down in Cambridge and nothing would have been said about it. So I don't know, like there's ifs and buts and stuff like that, I'm sure the probably manager would have used that, all right, like, but this still could have easily ended up losing 2-0, and it gets nothing said about it. Sometimes as well, we're going to Wembley twice. That sounds like, you're confident in your own team.
A bit arrogant, like
So like you look after the game, after the game, if we had won the game, people could have come out and said, "Oh, you know what? That team was really confident because Morrow gave that interview and he said we're going to Wembley twice." So I wouldn't look too much into that stuff. And again, I'd be worried for those players if they did. If that was their motivation to win the game.
Yeah, no, I was just speaking to Danny, and that's kind of what Danny seemed to kind of rely on a bit, and he kind of seems to say that a lot of that was actually one of the main reasons why they put on a performance in the second leg and come back and won 3-0 that day, albeit in extra time, I think it was. But I
wouldn't fancy having that as my teammate.
No, he's a good lad though, is Danny, to be fair. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
And then we've got a message here from Giggsy. She said, "I like your accent. Where are you from?" It's from Ireland, Cork in Ireland.
Yeah.
And Alfie there's only one, Darren Murphy as well. How you doing, Alfie? All right, mate? So yeah, we'll get on to a couple of questions on here again as well. Now, you scored your first goal in the narrow defeat to Portsmouth in the Cup, the League Cup. What was that like? As you know, they were a league or two higher than us at that point. I think it was a league higher than us. So to test yourself against them, and at the end of that game as well, I remember very clearly that the fans there, including myself, we were all stayed behind in the East Terrace for a good half an hour, 45 minutes after, with the Dale Cavesi at the time. And you know, what was it like to come back out and to do your warm down, and all the fans are still there in the ground?
For that Portsmouth game, is it?
Yeah.
Like I actually dislocated my shoulder in that game, so went off at half time.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I scored in the first half. And I went off at half time. So I didn't get a chance to come back out and see the warm down and stuff with the fans. But like, look, any player that comes out for a warm down, you know, and all the fans are, you know, still there and stuff like that, that's great to see. But scoring a goal against Portsmouth, look, it was great achievement, you know. I suppose, we going 1-0 up against a team like that at the time, you know, they're a really good side. Now again, we ended up losing the game 2-1, was it? So
2-1,
so like, you know, that's, you know, great to get a goal, but we prefer to get the win, like, you know. And like I remember coming off at halftime was good because I probably played. I remember that season I came back really fit, and that was kind of one of the first games I'd played. And you know,
you had a good first half as well.
And
even looking bright in other aspects of your game, you looked like you were playing really well. And then obviously that was unfortunate to get that injury and have to come off.
That's it, So that's probably the start of my troubles as well, because 4 weeks later I played a reserve game, broke my leg. So you know. That, you know, like if I give back the goal and take away the injuries, I would prefer that. But no, it was nice. Look, it was nice to score against Portsmouth, and it was live on Sky Sports 3 as well, so I'll take that.
That's all right. I'm sure you've got that. You can still watch that back at some point as well.
Sky won't give it to me. I'd say I'll have to buy it off them, like.
Buy it, more than likely, yeah. So you were brought to the club by Graham Wesley. What was it like playing under Graham, and you know, what did you learn off him?
Graham taught me a lot, not just as a player, I suppose, as a person as well. You know, he kind of wanted that for all of us. I mean, like, look, let's be honest, it was a tough environment, you know, like, but it was kind of strongest will survive and stuff like that. And, you know, we had very successful, you know, couple of years. I know just looking at Graham's, you know, career history after that and stuff, it's not gone too well at times at clubs and stuff like that, but all I can comment on is from Stevenage that time he built a great team, you know, and a great spirit around it. And yes, there was times where it was tough coming in, but again, mentality, football, you need a strong mentality, and we all had that after. But I don't think anyone would look back and say, like, you know, it wasn't one of the best times in their career. You know, so I really enjoyed, like, he did test you as a player and a human being at times, but you know, he was a good manager for me anyway.
And what did you make of it when he was brought back to Stevenage this season just gone? What did you make of, you know, the club bringing him back for the fourth spell?
I was kind of looking at that actually. It was a bit weird what was going on, wasn't it? It was like was it Samson was in charge, and then
Dino, Mark, Graham, and then Revs,
and then Graham came in, and then the lads were, there was kind of swapping. There was a couple of swapping and changing. It was like, you know, we'll try this person, we'll try that person and stuff. And again, like, my thing there is essentially, like, you know, it's like Stevenage had something like really unique at the time, you know, like they had a really good 3-4 years, you know, and sometimes football like comes in roundabouts, doesn't it? Like, you know, sometimes you're not going to always be that successful team. Like if you look at Luton now, Luton were trying for years to get up out of the conference and stuff, and you know, I think they go to League Two and back down again and stuff, and you know,
they had to deal with the points deduction. I think they had the 30 points deductions and stuff as well to deal with for going into administration. And now, you know, they're doing well for themselves in the Championship. And they survived as well, didn't they? So
so again, I think maybe maybe culture and stuff like that with Stevenage. I know the last time I saw them play was against Crewe Alexandra.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose Crewe are a really good footballing side actually. But I just thought, I just looking at the game and I was thinking, the work rate out of the players, and like was it there, and were they a bit lost in what they were doing and stuff, or I think they were set up right.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think like closing fellas down, or making, as you said, making a tackle, or winning second balls and stuff like that. I was like, Crew were playing out from the back every single time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and I know, like, look, even being a coach, sometimes, like, you set your team up one way and set your team up another way. But I just think if that was back when I was playing for Stevenage, we would have said to each other, lads, this they're after getting out now 3 or 4 times, like, let's push up and get the ball off these fellas, like,
Yeah.
So again, it's game management and player managing games as well. Sometimes, like, on the sideline, you need your players to take over at that stage, and a bit of game intelligence, and realize what's going on. But again, it's tough. It's tough. You're not always going to be a successful team and stuff like that. So you have to take the bad times with the good times, So
yeah, definitely. And then, if you look at the squad from when you were playing there, the squad was pretty much set. The lineup was set virtually, bar 1 or 2 changes and injuries and things like that. You didn't have a 35-man squad like what Stevenage had this season. That's quite difficult to deal with that as well, when you've got that many players in the squad and that many players that are just, in the stands, and they know they're not going to be featuring.
Yeah, is that what they had? 35 players, is it?
It's about that, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, that's a big squad. It must be tough to deal with. But again, I suppose if you've that much selection as well, you'll be thinking that, like, geez, that's something to go off then as well. Like, that's something really good. Like, that you have 35 players, 35 professional players to choose from.
Yeah.
On a weekly basis, you can pick 11. Yeah, but competition must be fierce in that squad. Again, it might be hard to get right as well, because you've 11 playing, and then maybe 8 subs or something like that, 7 subs.
Yeah, 7 subs.
7 subs. So,
yeah.
Like, what are the rest of the guys doing, and are they going to get pissed off being at the side? And then it's hard as well when you're not playing. Do you turn into this kind of person who's going to work harder and try and get better, or do you turn around to turn into an insecure person who just starts, gutting everyone from the inside? So that's football as well, in a way. Like, it's like, sometimes players just turn around and start seeing the negative things and go with that because it's easier. It's a safety mechanism.
Yeah.
So
there was quite a lot done in January as well. The start of the season, there was a big squad, lots of change from last season as well. The side that just missed out on the playoffs by, I think it was 1 point. And then, there was still quite a lot of change done in the summer. A lot of players moved on. And, I think there was 10 or 15 that came in, something like that. And then in January, they tried to just kind of redo it all again in the January window. And I think by then it was just, too late.
Yeah, like, that's one thing I think being a manager is probably hard to get right, is getting the right players in. Again, you're probably signing players that you see on a pitch for some other team. You think he's good. Is he going to fit your team? Is he going to fit your squad? But as well, what's his attitude like? And I can imagine it's tough in the UK. Like, you're competing constantly for the best players, and are they going to come to your side, and you have to be doing well. You probably have to, like, you're against money there as well. What clubs are offering you and stuff like that, and whoever pays the most is going to get the best players. Realistically, let's be honest. At the end of the day, again, I suppose you go back to your culture and your environment. Stevenage were always good for, like, pipping guys from the conference and bringing them into league football and getting the best out of them. I think they changed that a bit when Graham had left the first time for Preston, and who's the manager?
Gary Smith.
Gary Smith, and So I don't know. I think I felt there was a weird change in the club. Then I'd gone on from there, but even the next year or two or something, that it was a different environment in the club. So again, it's down to like what do you want at the end of the day? Is are the club saying this to the new management staff and what they want? And like I would always known Stevenage for, like, you know, work hard, give 100%, you know. And they're happy at the end of the day, and I think the fans are like that as well.
Absolutely.
You work hard first and give us 100%.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they're not always going to be happy if you're not winning. That's just football. But
we've got a couple of comments here in regards to last season and that as well. Could have done with Murphs in the midfield the past season. The middle was too weak. And then, Craig's kind of saying the same kind of thing as well. So, you know, you can see that there wasn't really too many players in there that were, you know, fighters and 100% going for the cause and onside. There was, they were quality players and talented bunch of lads, and that some of them have had good careers, played at higher levels and whatnot. But I don't know whether it was they kind of just thought they'd come in and, you know, be able to hit the ground running, being the fact they played higher levels. And I don't know, maybe they were shying away from it a bit. I don't know what it was really.
Yeah, like again, I saw that game against Crewe. The lads in midfield, you had Joel and the guy number 4. What was his name? The black-haired guy, small.
That would have been, who was number 4 last season? Digby.
Yeah,
Paul Digby. Yeah.
Decent players.
Yeah.
You know, again, like you definitely wouldn't want me in there now. Anyway, the last 2 seasons, because you probably would have gone to League 2 a lot quicker. But again, the game is changing as well. You see, so it's hard. You know, like a lot of teams want to play now and stuff like that, and like, you know, if you go in and start nailing fellas in tackles now, the refs are just going to give you free kicks. You might pick up yellow cards, and then you suspensions. So then you've another problem. So it's a tough one, really. Again, adapt and change. Sometimes, you've got to be a little bit tougher. But, you know, it's kind of, I suppose, go back to our midfield. Like, there was probably myself, Jaws, Moose played there, Boswick, you know, Stacey Long, even though he's small, he was able to make a tackle as well, you know. And I think, it's tough. It's tough. You got to get the right mix. You even look at Man United there now at the moment, like they're struggling to get like decent players in, and they're just turning it around as well, like, you know. So it's not easy, like.
That's right. We've got one here from Craig Ligo. We had no fighters back in the day. Murph's day, we had nobody played in one position. They all played as individuals. They all played as a team, defended as a team, and attacked as a team. That's 100%, you know, how it was back in your day. Last season, it wasn't anything like that. The season previously, we had glimpses of that with Ilias Cherov on loan and Guthrie towards the end of the season and things like that. But, even that season wasn't the best.
But then, look, it comes down then again to, I suppose, the coaching and the style and the culture of the team. Like, you know, what players are they bringing in there? Like, you might have a great attacking player, and then, you know, he might be quality, getting goals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to track back. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, you know, like, or you might have wide players that are like that as well, or you know. And again, this is the hard part of the game. And can you get, you know, players who fit into your culture and your environment and do what you want them to do? It's not, like, as I said, it's not an easy task, but you have to do your best and see what you can do. And again, sometimes it's a lot. Oh, look at Leicester; they got a good group of players together there and won the Premier League. You know, out of once in blue moon. So, like, as I said to you earlier, it's like, name how many teams like went from the Conference to League One. You know,
there's just next to none. Yeah.
So it's like, I think if you're kind of living off that squad, you know, as a club, then it's never going to, like, compare to the teams that you have now and stuff like that. And as well, as you said, there's a big player turnaround and stuff like that. So again, maybe it's a couple of years of trying to get things right. And, you know, again, is the club in the background, you know, saying this is what we want, and, you know, this is what we want to bring in. I'm sure they are. So look, just keep going till you get it right.
That's right. And then we'll talk a bit about the trophy run as well. Obviously, you were sent off in that game against Cambridge, but it was obviously rescinded in the end. So how grateful, were you to the kind of referees and all of that to actually not just to get the second leg under your belt, but to actually get the chance to play at Wembley as well and to lift the trophy against York?
Yeah, well, I was grateful to Sestanta Sports, not the referees, because they wouldn't have rescinded it only for the camera. So let's get that straight, anyway. So no, but I was delighted, to play in Wembley. Like, I suppose you always dreamed as a kid. Well, the English lads would have dreamed more about Wembley. I would have been Old Trafford because I was a United fan, but I ended up playing there anyway. But it was great, always say that, experience it. Especially playing the final and win there, and as I said, lift the cup there. There's nothing like it, and it's something that will always live with me, and even I suppose hopefully one day lift the trophy there again as a manager or a coach or something.
Yeah, that'd be great. And obviously, you mentioned there being a United fan. So, what was it like to be involved in the playoff final there, and to see the club get promoted out of League Two? Playing a boyhood club of yours.
Yeah, that was a great trip and great environment to be in, especially like we got the home dressing room that day. Yeah. Walk out onto the pitch and you can feel it, and that's something I'll always say, that was different to Wembley. It just felt so different. It felt like, geez, this is Old Trafford, this is, you can feel the atmosphere even with no one in the ground when we were walking around the pitch and stuff like that. So, no, it was brilliant. And, to be fair, I should have scored. I should have scored that game.
Yeah,
there's a ball came across, the centre half's gone to header it, and I'm thinking he's winning the header, but it just kind of popped on my head. I was like, geez, if I scored there, it would have been brilliant.
And we've got a question. There we go. Danny Potter. This is Danny, the one I was telling you about, the Cambridge goalkeeper. Remember getting smashed by Danny in the playoff first leg semi-final. Didn't hurt that much.
No, he was a good keeper, to be fair. I remember him. Yeah, he's a very good keeper. And as I said, they were lucky to have him at that time.
Yeah. And then let's have a look what else we've got on here. We've got some more stuff as well. What were your best memories of, your times at Stevenage? And could be, anything to do with games or from training or, anything really, in terms of memories that you got of when you were down at the club.
I suppose, look, we spent a lot of time in the club. We spent a lot of time together. I mean, we were in there a lot. Definitely, I didn't like the injury table anyway because I was on it a lot. So I don't miss that. Even though I do miss the physio, Dando, he was a good laugh.
Yeah, Paul Dando, yeah.
Yeah, nice guy. But no, everyone was friendly down at the club, and I still, even when I go back there, everyone, is really friendly when you come in. They all still greet me and bring me in around the place. So, no, it's brilliant. I remember the last game I went back to, I really enjoyed it. Some of the fans still, be shouting down at you and stuff like that. So it's great to hear. And it's good to see they're still going as well, and the passion's still there. And even it's different, you're watching it in the crowd and, they're really passionate in Stevenage, aren't they? They're like, they want success, they want to win. And that's good from a fan base as well. So, but it does put pressure obviously on the management team and the club itself and the players. So, again, I suppose I spent maybe 3 or 4 years there, something, maybe even 5 coming back and stuff. So, no, it's a really nice place as well, Stevenage. I still go over there, obviously, a good bit. And there's some nice places there. I actually remember. We used to do a lot around the schools as well and stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Coaching and stuff. So, I have a few letters there and stuff from, the teachers and stuff like that, thanking you for coming down. That's quite
lovely
nice.
that they've actually done that and taken some time out to recognise that you've come in and you've spoken to guys about, not just football, but life as well, life experience.
Yeah, that's it. And look, I just think just the general population of Stephen is even people around the town and stuff. They're quite friendly people anyway. So,
right. So we've just got not too many more actually. So what was it like to be a part of Sorry, what was I saying there now? Bear with me. Sorry, your club your spell at the club was somewhat marred by injuries. You mentioned there what it was like to be on the treatment table so much, but do you think it would have been a little bit different, and things might have been a bit different in terms of where the club had gone if you'd actually managed to, get a bit more game time and had less injuries to deal with?
Yeah, you can always look back at that, but again, there's probably, there's fellas in pubs all over the place and they could have played here and there, I don't want to kind of go into that. Look, it was what it was. I played the way I played and I got the injuries I got, I maybe looking back on it and advising a younger player, I'll always say maybe get to know your body a bit more better, like, yourself. Understand your muscles, from a younger age, and understand diet and nutrition and what kind of gym work to be doing. I suppose it would have been quite old school, probably.
Yeah.
Back in our day. So like obviously it's moved on an awful lot on that side of the game now. They're athletic, they're quicker. You need more pace. Same as when you look back in probably Pele's time now to Messi's time, the pace of the game has gone up an awful lot.
Oh, it's completely different if you look at Messi and Ronaldo to looking at Maradona and Pele. Yeah, massive.
Yeah. So, I think look, have no regrets either. At the end of the day, I really enjoyed my time. Yes, you look at some players and stuff who moved on from Stevenage, and could you have, if you kept fit all the time, like I would have been hampered a lot, and that's the thing is, did Stevenage see the best of me, or did kind of any club in a way, really, because I never got a good run of games together. I remember I went down to Aldershot on loan.
Yeah, on loan.
And I played a game down there, and again, like Dean Holdsworth brought me into the dressing room after, and he was like, that's the best I've seen an Aldershot player play since I've been here.
Yeah.
And that was nice to hear from him. But then the next game I got injured, so it was like, there's always something.
Again, on the treatment table again and back.
Yeah, that's it. And Port Vale was the same as well. Like, I tore my hamstring up there 6 times, and I still kind of broke into the team and stuff. So, like, you look at it and you say, geez, could you have gone on and done a bit more, or if you like, especially you look at that time, I got really fit in Portsmouth. I was probably, did really well in the first half, probably. And then dislocated shoulder, broke my leg, and you're thinking, geez, right, like, and that's my biggest disappointment, is not showing people my full potential, what I could do, like, so look, that's something you kind of have to live with and get on with, and it just wasn't meant to be, like, but I had good times.
I was just going to say, what would Graham and Phil like as well? Obviously, you mentioned that you were injured quite a lot. You had some serious injuries to deal with at that point. So what were they like? Obviously, knowing that you were out of the, out of their plans and out of being able to, you weren't able to get selected due to your injury. But did they still get you involved in, match day squads and things like that as well, to kind of get involved with them?
Yeah, so like, you're always doing something. Like, if you were injured, that's probably killed me in the end as well. You're injured, you're in first, last to leave. Like, like I was getting Stevenage training sessions, some days 8:30, 9:15, and not getting out there till 6:30.
Yeah.
So like that was a really, really long day. But it kind of was trying to entice you to get back in. But again, when you're an injured player, there's only so much you could do. So, like, I probably did a lot, did probably way too much recovery times, and it still didn't help. So, but no, I think looking back on it now, I would have said, like, rest is best and stuff like that. And even if I got injuries now, I treat them totally different, and I would have put my hand up and been a bit stronger, maybe, to managers and saying, look, I don't think I should train today, or, like when I came back from injury, it was straight into training the minute I could. But I was hungry as well to get back in the team, and I always kind of broke back in, which is, I suppose, some good sign anyway. So
that's
for
a
the manager,
credit to you to get yourself fit and to get yourself ready and motivated to go again. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you talking about Phil Wallace, is it?
Yeah, the chairman.
The chairman probably thinks, I was a terrible investment. he saw me coming over from Ireland, played under 23s, played with the Irish under 23s, and played in the Champions League and stuff like that. And he probably thought, like, getting a few million here and ended up he just ended up paying a few million, I'd say. so no, he's a good guy, Phil. He's nice. He says hello anytime I'm over there and stuff. But I'd say, look, again, they're looking to bring players. Their idea was looking to bring players in and sell them and stuff like that. So I'd say, if that was my model and I was a chairman, I'd be looking at it saying, geez, any chance like this fella, staying fit. So, but look, they stood by me a couple of times and they're really good. And that, like, that's a huge thing as well from a club, like, looking after players.
Questions here from Craig again. Which player helped you through the crap times the most, and who was your best pal at the club?
I suppose injury-wise, Darius Charles was injured for a good spell of time, and I'm sure there was a good few. I know Boylan, when the first year I was there, he was injured, good lad, and Bright Joe and stuff like that. But I remember just Darius, because we used to, like, we were in there a long time, but we used to have a table tennis out on a side hut, and I remember the two of us used to be playing like for nearly 2 hours or something like that. Like, the sweat used to be dripping off us. We used to do it so much, like, but when we could play, when we weren't injured, when we were just coming back from injury. But I remember that was quite good. And I remember did a couple of times they didn't want us playing table tennis then, and they used to lock the room, so we used to try and sneak out the back and climb through the window and stuff like that, and open the door for each other. So but no, there was a good couple of lads there. I know Lardy lived in Stevenage, so I was quite friendly with him. Robbo, Joel, and Beardo as well. Like, they're good lads. But like, majority of lads were decent lads, to be fair. And
then we've got a message here from Matt as well. Given the opportunity, would you rather play for your country, Ireland, or Man United?
Oh, Ireland, definitely. Yeah. You have to, like, your country, like, you have to play for country.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I think that's probably Man United would be great to play in that as well. But to play for your country is something completely different, isn't it? And I've spoken to a few ex-pros about that who have actually had the pleasure and privilege of playing, mostly under 21s and things like that. And they've said that, they wish that they could have gone on and had a few games in the seniors.
Yeah. I think it's just the fact that, I suppose you're representing your country. Half your country's all something they live in. No, I played 21s and 23s and stuff like that. But again, the seniors is totally different. You look at it and you say, you can always look back. Even though I did play with the Irish legends in a few games recently, the Masters and stuff with Ronnie Whelan and Ray Houghton, and stuff like that, and Mark Kinsella and stuff. So, but you're playing these games actually, and they're like, they must be 50. I'd say probably older. They're probably 50s, 60s or something. 60, they can still play. They can still move that ball.
You mentioned Ray Houghton there as well. Ray Houghton actually played for the club. He played for Stevenage as well.
Did he? I didn't know that.
Back in the day. Years, I think it was about the 90s or something. Ray Houghton was at Stevenage. I remember watching him play a few times.
I must say to him no next time, because we definitely play another one of those games somewhere.
So no, definitely speak to him about that and see what his memories are of when he was down here at Stevenage. Be good to speak to him about that. So upon leaving the club, you joined up with Aldershot on loan. So, were you still hopeful at that point of, if you put in a few performances, you'd be able to come back to Stevenage and make a name for yourself?
Oh yeah, you always are. Like, and again, it just goes back to, as a footballer, even now, you'd be jogging down the road and you'd be thinking in your own head, like, geez, like, if I get fit here, can I go back over and make a name for myself again? I think if you're not thinking that, there's probably something wrong. Like, that's the kind of drive you have, and that's the mentality you have, to get where you are in the first place. So, look, again, like, look, when I went to Aldershot that time, I actually ended up there. I only played about 3 games or something there. Came back, and I had gone to Port Vale then in the summer.
That's right. Yeah.
I only played about 3 or 4 games there, and left in January. And then I went up to Macclesfield.
Yes.
And I was only at Macclesfield, I'd say 2 weeks, and I tore my calf muscle. So in training, so I was like, look, my body needs a break, my head needs a break, and then I said I'm going home for a bit. Went home, and then came back to the UK, and I said I'd give it another go with Macclesfield. Go up there. And Graham had got the job back in Stevenage. And he said, why don't you come down here and just do pre-season down here? So I went down again, did pre-season. Yeah, I did quite well. I was playing good football. But I just couldn't get fit again I couldn't even get fit for the friendly games and stuff. So I just kind of turned around and said, look, this just isn't happening. It's not happening for me, and just wanted to go back home.
We won't mention the fact that you played for Woking. We'll let that one slide.
Oh yeah, Woking, yeah. Jeez, I remember something like an hour and a half drive down, an hour and a half back, and stuff like that. And I was training with Stevenage during the day sometimes, and going down there then for a session or a game and stuff. I think as well, my head was gone. I know Woking there. I actually went to play a game for them, and I didn't know. My friend dropped me off at the train station in Birmingham. And they're saying, "Oh, we're meeting in the train station in Birmingham at a certain time." So I'm sitting down the train station, and I'm like, "There's no one here, at this time." And I was there, what the hell? Anyway, next thing, 10, 15 minutes later, I just said I'd ring and say, "What's the story?" It's actually there must be two train stations or something, or two terminals. It was further up the line they were meeting or something.
All right, okay.
And I was like, all right, and they'd gone already, so I had to try and catch them up and stuff like that. And went up to the game. Then we were playing. Is it South Coast or something up in Liverpool, or Southport?
Yeah, Southport.
Yeah. So I was late getting to the bus. They had all eaten their pre-match, and I was after getting off the train station, which was an honest enough mistake. I'm like, right, okay, I thought you were meeting here. So anyway, I met them. We were getting the bus from wherever that pre-match was, and then going up to the ground.
Yeah. And
then we were going up to the ground, and I got off the bus, and I was like, I have had nothing to eat, no breakfast or anything or anything. I have nothing here before a game. So I said, there's a shop down there. I said, I'm just going to pop down to the shop there and get something because I needed to eat before a game.
Yeah.
So I was like, came in, then he was given, I can't remember the name, Gary something anyway, was given his speech before the game, or whatever, to the players and stuff. And he was like, where the fuck were you when I came in the door? And I was like, I told you I was going to the shop. I had to get some tea to no pre-match. And he goes, kind of got the hump of small, but anyway, I sat down and I was like, right, played the game anyway. It was just, I was in a team with, and I just again, we speak about culture and environment after coming from Stevenage, playing with fellas, probably winners and stuff, and go through stuff. And then it was kind of, some fellas going through the motions and stuff like this. And I'm like, right. And I don't know. We came back from there then.
Was it Gary Hill? Was that the one that's put with
Gary Hill. Yeah. So, he's good enough to bring me down and give me a couple of games. But I don't know. I was just that trip in my head. I was thinking, coming down the train, I was like, what the hell am I doing here? What's going on here? Especially I've probably fallen a good bit now at this stage from clubs and stuff. And I was just, geez, I need to go home.
Did you know much about the rivalry between Stevenage and Woking when you signed up there, or not really?
Nothing. No, nothing. I didn't even know till you said it there a minute ago. Is there a big rivalry there? Is there?
Back from the conference days, there's Woking are one of our main rivals. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing them with Stevenage in a pre-season friendly only. That's my only other experience of Woking. But there you go. I ended up when finished that game, and I just rang Woking and said, look, I won't be back or whatever. And I spoke to Graham and said, look, Graham, this isn't working out here. Thanks for everything and looking after me and stuff, but I need to go home.
Okay.
So I remember I left Stevenage then, and Woking. I came back to Cork City, and I was going to sign for my local club here. And next thing they ring me and goes, you can't sign for us. And I said, why? Woking won't release your transfer from the last club until they get their tracksuit back. And I was like, oh my God. I was like,
that's so petty.
This is about 2 months. This is about 2 months later. And I was like, that time, I left the UK in a bad place there, and that tracksuit was probably in Stevenage somewhere. And I said, this is holding up my transfer fee. I was like, how much is the tracksuit? I'll send money over or whatever. I was like, you know, I just thought that was a really bad thing to do, you know.
It's crazy. Like some of those clubs, yeah, they might rely on, you know, income and money for whatever it may be. But for a player to have that kind of story where, you know, that they want to go back home, you know, they're not really in a great place at that point or whatever in their career, and they want to go back home and kind of get into, you know, their local club again. Like that's just so just harsh, and like it's petty, really, isn't it?
Yeah, well, look, I suppose I probably left there in bad terms as well. Like, so I shouldn't have taken the tracksuit. So maybe it's my fault.
Fair enough. What do you make of the Macclesfield and Stevenage situation in regards to the relegation?
Yeah, I don't know too much about it. As speaking to you earlier about it, you know, I don't know what's going on in the background. I know there was something about them not paying players or something, or
That's
staff
right,
or something, or
players,
so. Look, I don't really know, so I can't comment. But I just think, look, it's obviously a bad thing for Stevenage to be going out to the conference. You know, they, after fighting so hard over the last couple of years to get to even League One and nearly being close to go to the Championship, you know, it was kind of sad to see. But look, again, like I think, and you talk about Phil Wallace, like the chairman, like he's a really driven man, you know, like I reckon, you know, he's doing everything in the background as well to try and get that club back up to where it should be. So
yeah, I think, you know, as I was saying to you earlier, I know I'll go into this, you know, on stream. I'm not afraid to say this, that I think Phil Wallace has got to fight the club's corner. He's got to fight the club's case. And, you know, yes, we've had a terrible season, but, you know, the fact there were still games left to play and we had a game in hand and we had a lot of the teams above us to play, like directly above us to play. You know, football's a funny old game. 1 or 2 results and we're out of that.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and maybe you'd be thinking like the rest of football kind of returned, and it returned in Ireland. So could they've not, you know, returned, as you said, like, and played a couple of games and then kind of decided? But look, again, you just have to football. It's the same as getting sent off in a game by a ref, and you think it's injustice. You just have to get on with it, and you have to adapt and adjust. And I'm sure it won't be the worst thing if they go into the conference next year and, you know, do well. And you never know if you get, as I said, Alex is a young manager now. He's getting the squad together. He's getting a team together, and there'd be nothing better if they won the conference or won promotion, coming back up then again. And usually the teams who win the conference and win promotion kind of do well in League Two. They're on a winning streak as well, you know. And you never know. Then sometimes that helps the club, you know. Instead of going to League Two now and kind of trying to battle to stay up, you know, why not be one of the stronger teams in the conference? As I said, get your team confident, get a team together, get a structure together, get a good culture going again, and drive on from there.
Yeah. Did you know much about the Stevenage for League football campaign? Did you know much about that was going off towards the end of last season, that was set up by Drakkers? Were you following along with that?
No, I wasn't. No, what was that?
It was basically in regards to a lot of the old guys who were all linked in with the club, and, you know, helped us along the way, really, to get into the Football League, in terms of the likes of Jim Briscoe and people like that. You know, what was it? It was basically, you know, in honor of them, really, and to kind of help fight the club's corner and the club's case a bit.
Oh yeah. Look, use all the help you can get, I suppose, to do it, and see. Obviously, if there's something to fight there for, you know, you've got to go ahead and fight. If it's an injustice or it's something that shouldn't happen, then why not? Like, you know, why not put all your effort in? Especially, you know, as you said, it's something that helps you stay in the league. But again, I suppose, look, just be prepared to, if it doesn't go ahead, to get going again.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, you know, we'll just wrap things up really in a minute. But what do you make of Alex Ravel and some of the signings that he's made? Have you paid much attention to some of the guys he's brought in?
Well, I look on social media there. I see the guys coming in, and I see a few. There's always kind of someone puts up a few video clips and stuff like that. And again, I don't know much about these players, to be honest. I don't know them. I haven't seen them play. I don't know what their personalities are. But again, I would say, like, you know, young manager learning, and hopefully that he brings in the right crew and gets the backing from the club. And but my main thing would be for Stevenage is to kind of, you know, like, go back to that culture, go back to that environment that was there, go back to that atmosphere that was there. You know, like, that's probably what they were at their best. So if it's something that works, it's something that works. You know, every player giving 100%. You sign players that are willing to give 100% and kind of buy into it, and you know, that's all you can do really, is get a good team together. But again, look, it might be a new culture. Football changes as well. Alex probably has his own ideas why he wants to play the game. But again, like, he might, you never know, he might build a team that's, you know, superb footballers and they go up. So I know Barrow there at the moment are like meant to be like the Barcelona of League. Are they in League Two now?
Yeah.
So again, like, you know, it's all down to what team you put together.
That's right. And then we'll wrap it up there, to be honest, Mav. So it's been a pleasure speaking to you. I really enjoyed catching up, mate. And best of luck with everything you're doing. Do you want to just touch on your coaching briefly?
Yeah, like, I suppose, look, I'm coaching now at the moment. I'm up to my UEFA A badge. There's a lot of learning on the way. There's a lot of learning to go. I'm really enjoying it. Hopefully get to coach in professional football one day, maybe even Stevenage, you never know. But
is that something you do? Would you ever consider coming back to Stevenage in some capacity? Is that something you would be up for doing?
Yeah, like, as I said, like the club. Again, like, if it's something, an opportunity that came up, why not? You know, you'd explore it anyway and see what's there. But no, like, again, I'd like to work in professional football one day. Whether it be Stevenage or another club, and give it a go and see how far you can get in that. Same as a player as well. You want to try and go to the highest level you can. But yeah, like, again, just keep going forward. But no, look, thanks for doing this interview. And it's, as I said to you at the start, it's a great idea. Keep it going. And it's good. It's good to get all the old players back, especially, I think, is it Chris Beardsley's on now next?
Yeah,
and, you know, as I said, he's coming. Yeah, he's coming on at 8 o'clock there now. So if anyone's struggling to sleep, you know, stay tuned, because Beardo will have you off in 10 minutes. You can tell him I said that as well.
I will. I'll speak to Beardo in a bit, and you know, I'm pretty sure by the time I go through and I'm like, well, Beardo, we've got 25 questions for you. It's like, yeah, that will send plenty off to sleep, mate. We'll be all right with that one. Cheers, Murph. Thanks a lot, mate.
No worries. See you later, Mike.
Cheers,
Thanks.
mate.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Cheers, Murph.